Well, good morning, guys. How you doing today? Welcome to another trading session here. It is Wednesday, so we will have some action at 2 p.m., which is FOMC minutes today. And we will see prices not in an easy read way. So I guess we will have to wait until the open at 9:30 to see what we're gonna have and what price will give us. I mean, right now I'm inclining to a bearish scenario, but would like to see a clearer rejection of this N wall here. So I'm expecting probably a push to the upside, taking out these relative equal highs here from London, and then eventually a breakdown to Monday's low. So price is now trading above midnight open, above 8:30 open. So right now we are some kind of in a premium. I usually have the Asia range in consideration for the bias, but since we already took Asia high and Asia low, it doesn't make sense to consider Asia levels as our draw on liquidity. So what we can eventually consider for our draw on liquidity would be the London high eventually. So probably what I'm expecting at 9:30 is a stretch to the upside here, but then a breakdown, losing this 15-minute bearish for value gap and eventually the midpoint of the N wall as well. So then price will eventually come down, breaking down and taking these lows here, the pre-8:30 open lows, which gathered a lot of liquidity. And yeah, we will see what happens. I'm not expecting much from price today since we have a 2 p.m. FOMC minutes. So the price action may be stalling a bit, just generating liquidity and eventually breaking that liquidity at 2 p.m. At 2 p.m. I won't be I will finish this live maybe at 11:30. So we will see what happens, but honestly until 11:30 I'm not expecting much from price action, honestly. Let's see. So for now we are just waiting. We have 1 minute for the open. Price is trying to invert this 15-minute for value gap here on the ES, and yeah, let's see what the open brings us. So let me just check here one more thing, just to see if everybody can hear me. Well, we'll just ask you for your bias for today. What is your bias for today? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? Or is it neutral? Yeah, as I said before, I'm kind of bearish, but would like to see some kind of a verge on liquidity here first before taking any sell side seeking shorts. So let's see how price will behave. So right now we have the 930 open, which is here. The price trying to stay above midnight open, 8:30 open, and now above the 9:30 open as well. Let's just open my position size calculator as well. So let's see if the 9:30 open opens bullish and gives us the purge of liquidity that we are expecting from these highs here. And if price enters the NWOG and stays above it and stays above the midpoint of it, I would change my bias to a bullish one, targeting maybe some highs here. But yeah, price for that to happen, price should maintain a bullish structure on the higher time frames as well. So for now, there is no bullish structure that I can see on the hourly and the 15 minutes at least. So let's wait for the first presented fair value gap as well. These types of wicks sometimes are considered fair value gaps. You can eventually measure them as fair value gaps when you have a wick right at the top, from the top bottom of this candle. This should be a implied fair value gap. It's not a explicit fair value gap, it's an implied one. But I would like to measure my first presented fair value gap with a real fair value gap, not an implied one. So as expected, price is moving to the upside here at 9:30 open. Note how we just swing to the upside at 8:30, doing the same at 9:30, and this can eventually contribute to a Judas swing, which might end eventually here at the midpoint of the NWO or the midpoint of this 15-minute fair value gap. So for those who haven't watched me yesterday, I told everybody yesterday on my stream that I would be trading the demo account, as you can see here on your bottom left. I would be trading the demo account and paper trading since I broken a lot of rules on my last combine, and due to that I got my combine blown out due to drawdown limit reached, and due to that I will just resume to combine trading next Monday. So until then I will just trade this practice account, this demo account, the paper trading account, whatever you want to call it. On the combine account, I will as well introduce a hard stop to my losses, because that's the thing that I see that is that I have to work on. It's knowing when to stop. So I will probably put a 2R loss as a hard stop on my trading combine, and that will eventually prevent me from from getting into drawdown after drawdown, and trying to get out of drawdown in the same session, or eventually in the same day. So as soon as I hit 2 hour, my trading combine will face a hard stop. It will probably log me off the platform and leave it for the next day to eventually mitigate those losses. So I think that's a good measure for me right now, just to prevent from over trading and trying to mitigate the losses. I think that's the thing that I have worked the most in my opinion. So I hope that it will eventually help me with that. So right now, price is doing whatever he wants to do right now. I'm just waiting for some kind of decision, or some kind of model presentation, or eventually a liquidity purge. As I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm inclined for a bearish bias eventually, waiting for something like Monday's low. But honestly, I would like to see first. I would like to see a purge of one of these liquidity points here. These are all relative equal highs, and usually what price does is a run to the upside not before, but in between 8:30 and 9, or 7:30 and 8. Yeah, and that's what happened here. We opened at 8:30, rallied to the upside. We opened at 9:30, tried to rally to the upside. If we see what happened at 7, between 7 and 7:30, the same thing. So we can eventually face a Judas swing. This might be our Judas swing for the day, but I would like to see this Judas swing a little bit more stretched to the upside, taking out some of these liquidity points here. So far, no first presented for value gap. Price is just working what it wants to work. Yeah, no first presented for value gap until now. We might have one here with this displacement that is happening. Note that, let me just check the candle sizes here. Yeah, they are still massive. This is a 40 handle move. So pay attention if you're trading micros or minis. Just pay attention to your size, because you can really hit your drawdown limits in a couple of minutes. That's what happened to me on Monday, honestly. Yeah, it was Monday. So price doing what we expected it to do, just reaching to the upside. Now we have our first presented for value gap. This is the first presented for value gap. It is a bullish one. If price closes this candle here, just the way it is. So right now we are, just let me mark London high here as the ultimate buy side liquidity. So this is London high. So, and after hitting a London high, I will eventually wait for something to the downside, only if we stay above the midpoint of the N walk, or eventually if we invert this 15-minute fair value gap. Then I would eventually switch my bias to something bullish. But in the meantime, if we don't invert one of these areas, I would not consider this as a bullish move. This can only be a Judas swing. This one right here. So I'm just looking on the daily range. We are in a premium right now, above all the opens: 9:30 open, midnight open, and 8:30 open, and we are tagged buy side liquidity as London high. So the first move was quite clear. Something that we were expecting. You could ask me, if you were expecting this, why don't you interact? Why don't you interact with that? Well, honestly, it doesn't offer me the risk to reward that I'm searching for. So that's why I'm not trying to deal with that. Just let me check here one thing. My camera is getting off once again, and I just checked. It isn't the cable's fault. Something else, but we'll say that. It will stay that way, honestly. Yeah, it's not its cables. Something else that I have to figure out. Yeah, as I was saying, could eventually open something here, but honestly, there was no liquidity purge here. There was no manipulation. There was nothing that could eventually take me into this trade. So for now, we are just watching. Yeah, so far price hit the buy sell liquidity as London highs, stopped at the midpoint here, stopped right at the midpoint, and is starting to revert. I would like to see if we are in a bullish type of environment, this first presented fair value gap should hold. If not, then it get inverted, and eventually we run to the downside. But we need to wait a bit here. So far, a good rejection here after buy side liquidity has been taken. Let's see how price will react here as soon as the first presented fair value gap is touched. Yeah, like I said before, I usually I tend to look at the Asia range for draws on liquidity, but honestly, since Asia highs and Asia lows were already taken here, Asia range does not serve our purpose. So we look at the London lows has been taken here on pre-open, and now we have taken London highs as well, so it can give us a perspective of what price wants to do. We have two options, or maybe three, or it will continue to the upside if we respect the first presented for value gap, or we come down into this range and start our waiting session for the FOMC in some type of consolidation, which is the thing that I would not like to be caught in. So let's see. We still have these relative equal lows here as well, below 830. There's a lot of liquidity resting here. So those who woke up at 830 just longed, and they are automatically in profit, and that usually does not stay like that. But so far, first presented for value gap is holding, but without reaction, without bullish reaction here. We are just trespassing it. So far, the midpoint of the first presented for value gap is being, I would say, respected. So it can give us a nice bounce to the upside here. On the 5-minute time frame, price is working inside a bullish for value gap. NQ took buy side liquidity as well, so NQ and ES are quite similar today, which is good. And now, good reaction to the upside here. And we started the 950 macro. We have the 950 macro until 10:10. So this is our first macro of the day. 950, which can eventually start a continuation or eventually a reversal. So we have to have that in mind, that usually macro hours starts a reversal or it continues a upside, in this case an upside move. if we manage to stay above the midpoint and this 15-minute bearish fair value gap, I would start to roll my attention to these highs here. This is all low resistance, so we might be wrong with our bearish bias. So that's why we have to have those levels in mind as well. Yeah, so far the first presented fair value gap is being respected, but I would like to see something closing above the midpoint and eventually above the 15-minute fair value gap. Notice that these candles are kind of big. These ranges are quite big. This is a 40 handle range, so you're working with my micros. You should be eventually interacting with the market with 2 micros in max. Yeah, nice displacement to the upside here. Let's see if we can get a close above these levels. We'll just check once again the ranges here. Yeah, this is a 20 handle stop, which is quite significant. So far, price is digging to the upside. It's just marching to the upside, but still working the midpoint of the NVOG and the midpoint of the 15-minute fair value gap. I would like to see some bullish reaction here. Yeah, this is a nice bullish reaction since we have this fair value gap here and it's kind of respecting it. Yeah, on the 4-hour, we are still inside a bearish fair value gap. That's why I'm not interacting with the longs yet. That's why I'm demanding a close above these levels, because these levels are the top of the 4-hour fair value gap. A nice reaction here from this fair value gap here. This is a tiny one. This is a small fair value gap, but it kind of respected. Touching once again the midpoint of both the 15-minute fair value gap and N-walk. And as you can see, it's kind of, we are here already for 7-8 minutes. It's kind of an important level here. That's why I'm just letting price do its own thing. Here once again touching the fair value gap, but reacting quite fast to the upside. Yeah, price today is has a lot of volatility. These ranges, these swings are massive. But honestly, price is not as fast as it. It's quite volatile, but not fast. I mean, we are inside of the 950 macro, and nothing is happening right now. So your price is taking some time here. I was expecting it to be a considerable resistance here, so that's why I was willing to wait for its reaction. But since price is taking everything with 30, 20, 30 handles. It's kind of hard to interact with it. So price is trying to invert this 15-minute fair value gap right now. It presented as a new fair value gap. The midpoint is suppressed as well. Still pushing to the upside. We're still pushing to the upside here. But yeah, at this point, I really would like to see some kind of down movement, because price is kind of stretched to the upside here, and it's been grinding to the upside since 8:30. It can eventually continue, but I don't see. I can't see myself being comfortable taking a buy here, honestly. So we'll just wait a bit more and see if this bullish PD array is still respected. Let me just check the 4-hour time frame as well. On the 4-hour, we are trying to get out of the bearish fair value gap. But it's a tricky place, honestly, because we are deep in premium, with buy side liquidity already taken from London high. So this is a tricky spot here to be bullish. You can result in some type of a fake out and deliver downside movement. So that's why I'm waiting here to see how price wants to continue or eventually revert. Because as I said before, 950 can be the start of a reversal as well. As you can see here, this one is being inverted. So if we invert this one as well, which I think we will, if we invert this as well, we might get our shorts getting triggered. There we go. So now we'll just wait for the candle closure, see how price will behave next. Let's see if we can get this being triggered here. So it is triggered. We'll just manage the stop loss a little bit to the downside here. I know that's a bit too small of a stop loss, but these type of ranges demand that, so I cannot stretch it to the upside. Otherwise, I would be playing outside of my risk portions. So the the ultimate target would be eventually midnight open. Seems to be a reasonable target since we have a bullish per belly gap on the 15-minute, but we can eventually wait for Monday's low or sell side liquidity here, or eventually these relative equal highs right before 8:30 open. These would be targets that we should have in mind. Price taking a little bit too much time here, honestly. We'll see how this ends. Notice how we lost the midpoint of the NWOG, the midpoint of the 15-minute per value gap as well. It seems like price wants to go for another run to the upside here. Yeah, my stop is kind of close here. It should be at least here, but it would add me to the 300s, and I'm not inclined to that. Let's see if price wants to start delivering to the downside here. Would like to see some closes below these wicks here. There we go. Price is trying to get out of the 15-minute fair value gap, the bearish one, losing. Notice how how price retested the midpoint of the 15-minute fair value gap and the midpoint of the NWOG as well before heading down. So I'm expecting the first presented fair value gap to act as a support here. So I have to have that in mind. It can be a great support price, but honestly, I'm expecting it to go through it and invert it. So I would classify it as a future first presented fair value gap inversion, almost something like that. But yeah, let's wait a bit and see how price will deliver. So far, we made a very nice tape read of price action. Top notch, I would say, because I was expecting a push to the upside first, and then eventually a breakdown because we still have relative equal highs here. Have relative equal lows here. And I'm not demanding this, but we have Monday's low here as well. Yeah, so far price broke down. And now let's see if it wants to run to the upside or if it continues digging deeper and deeper. This is the major support that price has here, so it can work as support and like a trampoline to make price go for another run. We formed another bearish fair value gap here, so it is acceptable that price wants to go there and trying to retest it. We'll just cut this one off from here. yeah, we face some drawdown here when price try to retest this fair value gap. This was a double fair value gap here. It is acceptable. I mean, I would say that the low-hanging fruit here is this sell side point here, but I think that these relative equal lows can be a low-hanging fruit point as well. Notice how 950 macro turned out to be some kind of a reversal or a test to revert price. Another test of this bearish fair value gap here. We have an order block here as well, so let's see if price respects that order block or it wants to go higher for another run to the upside. And Q is pushing a bit further here, honestly. So far, bearish PD arrays are being respected. We just have to wait for price to do its own thing and eventually dig lower into targets that we have here. Of course, I would like to see some faster moves to the downside, but I recognize that the first presented fair value gap could be a major support on price, and it's acting like that, honestly. Yeah, price is still digging to the upside here. Like I said, NQ is going further in this retest. Take in mind that we are some hours away from FOMC minutes. It's not the FOMC, the big one. I mean, the most important. It's the minutes. So, but even with FOMC minutes, price can be can act in some type of way that we don't like. It can eventually go to another move to the upside, come down, go once again to the upside, come down, and in a high resistance way. Of course, we all want to see those low resistance runs, but in a pre FOMC minutes environment, it might not happen. That's why we have to have that in mind and be patient with price action. There we go. We closed below. We are retesting the first presented for value gap once again. Not the action that I would like to see here. We wicked once again inside the first presented for value gap. I would like to see the close inside of it and eventually below this this wick here. Yeah, and price right away displacing to the upside. It's not a good sign, honestly. See, this is the type of price action that we might face when we are in some type of pre-events. This is not clean price action. This is the price action that is just waiting for something to happen, honestly. Got some relative equal lows here as well. Let's see if price can at least go to break even. Yeah. Let's see if we can respect this for value gap. This is taking way too long here, honestly. It should act in a faster way, quicker way. Not liking how price just displays to the upside. But I recognize that the first presented for value gap could be a major problem because this is a strong PD array, which usually determines the the bias for the day. If we eventually cannot, the price cannot invert this fair value gap, we can eventually expect the rest of the day or the rest of the session bullish. So we touched the midpoint of it 2 times and got immediately rejected. The second one was a rejection with displacement, which I didn't like. Let's see if price can react once again. If price can break below it, I will probably protect my position. Because I'm not liking, honestly, this type of zigzag here. We are here for about yeah, 20 minutes just to break below these levels. It's taking too much time for me, honestly. So let's see if price can really dig into the first presented fair value gap and eventually invert it. This is what I would like to see, an inversion of this first presented fair value gap. Seems like we go for another try. Yeah, we got wicked again. Price wicked the first presented fair value gap once again. We'll just give it some more minutes here, just to see if it really wants to dig lower. Yeah, price dig into the first presented fair value gap. This is the 3rd time, and is now displacing once again to the upside. It's not displacement, but it is a strong reaction to the upside. And at this point, I think that we will not see place coming down, because we are some type of, seems like we are inverting this. We are making some type of a curve to go to the upside, honestly. I think that if this would take us down, I think it would already, I would have done it. It would have done it already. Yeah, it's taking way too long, and yeah, displacing to the upside, and I will get my stop loss hit. See, this is the type of price action that is really common when we are waiting for some type of event. We are waiting for FOMC minutes, and honestly, this is what I have to deal with. A 25-minute wait for something to happen. I guess I will get stopped out here. There we go. So first try to go to the downside didn't work out. I guess we will have some more upside here, honestly. Yeah, we will. So the first presented for value gap, as I recognize it, but didn't act in any type of way. Could have protected myself here, but it really acted as a support here, and eventually will push the price to the upside. Well, price is trying to get out of the first 15-minute bearish for value gap here. So let's see if we can get a retrace into this tiny bullish for value gap. We might not have it because we are inside this one right now. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see if price respects the order flow that it is giving to us. this fair value gap should be our major defense line. Price digging into that fair value gap here, it should be respected, and it should eventually retrace to the upside. Nice reaction here from price. Yeah, but it seems like price is just playing tricks on us. It's not respecting any type of scenarios, not bullish, not bearish ones. So as I said before, these are the type of environments that are usually happen before FOMC minutes, NFP, CPI. So you face a lot of indecision in the market when these types of events just show. Yeah, price just consolidating right now. So I can agree that my first stop loss here was kind of too close. Yeah, it was too close, and because of these huge ranges. But it seems like price will just do its own thing here, honestly. Unless we get a close below here. Otherwise, I will eventually not interact anymore with this type of price action here. Let's see, we are losing once again the midpoint. We are losing the 15-minute once again. We just took these relative equal lows, the highs, I mean. So this might be way more favorable than the first try here. The price is once again wicking, and whenever price is wicking, it's kind of hard to decide what it wants to do. Let's see if we can get another type of entry, or if our narrative is just wrong. I still think that we will head down here. But as you can see, price is just wicking outside the 15-minute per value gap, the bearish one. So it is not giving us the sureness that we would like to see. But yeah, no bullish reaction for now. It tried to come to this bullish fair value gap, but it didn't reach it. Yeah, this might be because we have a higher high. Then we took these two highs out, but we're not unable to go for another higher high. So I guess price is primed eventually to fail and come to the downside here. We lost the midpoint of the unwalk. We lost the midpoint of the 15-minute fair value gap. So if we can invert this first presented fair value gap and displace through it, this would be a clear sign that bearishness is waking up here. Yeah, price is facing once again the first presented fair value gap here as support. displacing once again to the upside. Yeah, it seems like we got caught inside of the consolidation range. So these are the hardest ones to play with. It's kind of annoying because price will eventually go back and forth without any decisive direction. Price just tagged the inverted fair value gap. It reacted quite good here. I liked how price reacted here, closed below it. And now I need another 1 or 2 candles to take out these lows here. It would be great to see it with displacement. And then I think we are primed to go to the downside. This was our first plan. I have to admit that my stop loss here was not very good placed. I know about that, but since the ranges are too big, I had to cut it off a bit, and it costed me a loss here. But it is what it is. Next time I will have that in mind and will eventually stretch my stop loss, or eventually not go into a trade if the stop loss does not respect my drawdown limits. Because that's one another thing that I tend to mess up with when the ranges are too big. I tend to accept smaller stop losses, and that usually costs me a lot. So this is another thing that I have to avoid. So price finally broke down here. Let's see if we can get a close below the midpoint of the first presented fair value gap. This was our first narrative that was in play. I tried the second narrative here with a buy here, but got stopped out right away. So eventually this one will now take us at least to 8:30 open, but I'm expecting I mean 9:30 open, but I'm expecting at least midnight open. We can eventually go to these relative equal lows as well. So if I stretch my take profit down here, I would eventually take out one contract here at midnight open. But let's see. Since price is so taken, it took a lot before anything happened. I was counting on the 950 to 1010 macro to give us the reversal. It kind of gave us, but not how I intended it to. So now we are inside the, let me just check it here. the 1010, the 1050 to 1110. So this is usually the last macro that I play, and this one right here will eventually give us the follow through of the 950 macro. So let's see. We'll just let it roll. Yeah, so far so good. So far price is doing what we want to do. At this point, there's no need for an open risk, so I will just put myself at break even. The first presented fair value gap should act as resistance right now, so even if price wants to retrace, I'm not expecting it to go beyond the first presented fair value gap. This should act as a good resistance. So at this point, it is important for us to see where price is going and where it is now. So as you can see here, we have -2 standard deviation at these relative equal lows. We are right above 930 open, so this can act as some type of resistance. But I'm expecting midnight open, which is near 1.5 standard deviation, to act as a bigger resistance here, a bigger support, I mean. But yeah, we can eventually face, as you can see here as well, -4 standard deviation for Monday's low. This was some type of the biggest downside perspective that we had on market here. So it's quite confluent here. It has a lot of confluence, and it might help us in our confidence to see these areas as active targets. So this fair value gap should be respected right here. Let's see. It was kind of a shame that price came right up here, took our first stop here. Otherwise, we would have been shorting from the beginning here. And I tried here this long. This was not a good idea, honestly, but it is what it is. We are not trying to get a big move here. There we go. price is displacing once again to the downside. I want to see that fair value gap being respected. So we can eventually expect a major stop here at minus 1.5 standard deviation. This might trigger a bullish reaction here, but I usually tend to stop my positions at minus 2.5 standard deviation. So we can eventually stretch this to here, and if we wouldn't to have FOMC, we could eventually expect minus 4 standard deviation here as Monday's low. Well, I will notice here, these are relative equal lows as well. This is the lower hanging fruit that we were talking about. These relative equal lows. Price rejecting that fair value gap, which is what we want to see. And attacking these relative equal lows as well. So if you guys are eventually taking some shorts, this point here should be a good place to take some profits, some partials. I will stretch it for midnight open. I think that 1.5 standard deviation is a good point to take some partials here. Yeah, this is my phone warning me that it's 11. So 11 o'clock can be the time where we can eventually face a retrace of the move that is happening. But I would like to see these relative equal lows being taken before that retrace happens. This is 8:30 open, so price stopped right at 8:30 open. We still have midnight open. 9:30 open. We still have midnight open, and we still have 8:30 open right here down below. So I will be patient with price and give it its time. At this point, I will lower my stop loss here. So price is continuing its way to the downside here. It's kind of a slow market today, since we have FOMC at 2 p.m. $9.30 open, really acting as support here. So price just bounced back and forth right at the 9.30 open. I'm expecting this fair value to hold, otherwise we will place a retrace into the first presented fair value gap here. Yeah, price is showing to be very stubborn today. Not clean moves with deep retraces. Not liking how this fair value gap is being inverted right now. We will probably be stopped out here. Notice how I just put my stop right above the midpoint of the first presented fair value gap, allowing price to dig into the first presented fair value gap just a little bit, but would not like to see it close above the midpoint or eventually explore the midpoint. So stopped in profit here. Let's see if we can eventually re-enter this trade and go for another run to the downside, because we still have these relative equal lows here. The price really displacing to the upside, inverting the first presented fair value gap, which is not what someone who is charging the market wants to see. But let's see here. Let's see the reaction. So if price loses once again the midpoint of this first presented fair value gap, it could be a good chance to re-enter the trade and eventually explore the downside that it has to do. So far we are 50%. We made a retrace of 50%. Here the first presented for value gap is showing us some restrictions for the upside price. So this should be the last try to catch this downside movement. Price is still working inside the first presented for value gap, so it's kind of a stubborn price action today. Let's see if we can get a move to the downside right now, because we are we are at the end of the macro, and sometimes the end of the macro can eventually give us some type of speed, and that's what I'm looking for on the last hours of the stream, not the stream, but the macro. Seems like we are losing the midpoint of the first fair value gap here, the first presented fair value gap. So what I'm expecting now is eventually down move, a roll down, eventually giving us 8:30 open once again, and midnight open, and eventually 8:30. This is the 9:30, this is the 8:30. We still have these relative equal lows here down below as well. So it would be kind of suspicious to leave these right here. But as you can see, price is really not working as it should. Just displacing. This is the type of environments of pre-FOMC minutes, pre-CPI. These are kind of typical. And yeah, got stopped out here. Well, at this point, I think I will probably end the stream, since it's past 11. Price will probably continue to consolidate until 2 p.m. or eventually giving us these high resistance runs, which are not good. It takes you out a lot of mental capital, and it can break you. Honestly, it can really break you. So as you can see, we are back on the 10 a.m. levels, back to 10 a.m. levels, which is a signal that price is probably waiting for 2 p.m. In other conditions, this would be a clean run to the downside, taking relative equal lows here, relative equal lows here as well, and eventually taking us to Monday's low. But price doesn't want to do that. Because why? Because we FOMC at 2 p.m. It is just waiting. That's why. And it will eventually come to the upside here. I'm not liking how the first presented for value gap just got inverted with displacement following bullish for value gap as well. Yeah, it's a hard read for today. I was bearish for the session, got into a short here, got stopped out. Then I tried a long, but the long did not work. Took another short here, closed it here, and the third short was stopped out once again here, and we will progressively go to the upside here. That's what I'm seeing now. So nothing else to do here. I think we are in the middle of this range. Unless we for the short scenario, we should have inverted this bullish fair value gap here, return inside the first presented one, and then displace to the downside. For a bullish scenario, if we start climbing this, we will probably end up doing new highs, and that's what usually happens, because we are inside of an N wall, and the N wall tends to act or as a magnet, attracting price to its core, or eventually as a trampoline. As you can see, it is acting like a magnet right now. It is dragging price into its core, the midpoint. And it's quite frustrating trying to predict when price wants to come out of it, or if it wants to go through it to the upside. There we go. Price is digging once again to the upside here. So the 1050 macro, it really was a macro to macro movement. So the 950 macro just started the reversal, but we couldn't catch it because our stop was too tight. And then as soon as we hit 1050, we started another reversal to the upside. Yeah, that's kind of interesting to see how macros can work and the time in between them work. So we got the first reversal from this upside move at 950 here, and boom, and as soon as we hit the 1050, we reverted again. It will probably stretch to 1150. Yeah. And I think this is a cool observation here. But yeah, at this point, I don't think we will end up getting to the downside. I tried long shorts for 3 times. The first one got stopped out. The second one took some profits here, and the third one got stopped out. So I guess shorts won't work here, because we are inside an N-WOG, and eventually we will consolidate. You see prices just slowly grinding up here, taking its time, do its own thing here. Yeah, it kind of gives us a nice downside momentum, but as soon as it hit 9:30 open, it reverted, and now price is probably primed to eliminate this low resistance here, so it will probably keep going higher and higher, and eventually the down move, because we are building liquidity with this type of action, the down move will be later, will be kept for later, because notice how we formed another relative equal lows. Here we have relative equal lows as well, and we still have sell side liquidity from Monday. So this can be priced eventually forming more liquidity before the FOMC news starts, and as soon as we have FOMC, it will probably start to explore this type of liquidity here. Yeah, price is very slow grinding up to the upside. It will face some kind of resistance here at the entry of the 15-minute fair value gap, but I don't think it will be that harsh of a resistance. I think it will grind up. So our bearish plan for the day, it was kind of a 30% correct, because we indeed made a swing to the downside, but I thought we would go lower. Honestly, it didn't happen. Price once again retesting this inverted fair value gap here. Now I just would like to see its reaction, if we have something to the downside or not, or if we just displace to the upside. I'm more inclined for a displacement to the upside, honestly, but we'll give it a chance if it wants to come down, if it still wants to come down. Let me just check here the regular trading hours. I knew that we were not in a big opening range, so nothing to Nothing to have in mind here, honestly. Yeah, this was the opening range gap here. Nothing that we could work with, honestly. A nice rejection here from this inverted fair value gap here. But we have this one. So price is now inside these fair value gaps, which makes things way harder to try to figure out. Please note how this fair value gap here is being respected as well. So this might be bullish order flow. This right here was some kind of a breaker. This one right here can act as a breaker as well. As you can see, price is just ping-ponging inside these 2 or 3 PD arrays. Relative equal highs forming here as well. A little bit of displacement to the downside, which is quite nice. If we invert this fair value gap here, it would be a good sign for bearishness. Price did not take this high here, or eventually this one, and it's rolling to the downside, inverting this fair value gap here. I usually don't take positions when we have relative equal highs or relative equal lows, since it's accordingly to my narrative, my first bearish narrative. We might have the follow through of the bearish movement. I'll just clean this one a bit, just to make things a bit more cleaner. This one will also, yeah. So what I'm expecting now is some type of a run to the downside, searching for these relative equal lows that we have here. So resuming, this is the pivot extension where we have the last swing high. Well, this could be more accurate if we take it down here. I kind of like the projection right here. So this is where it gives me more confidence from what I'm seeing. So price came down. It came almost to -1 standard deviation, then retraced back to -0.5, came back down once again. So now eventually we are expecting a run to the downside, hitting -1.5 and hitting midnight open as well. So once again retesting this inverted fair value gap here. The first presented acting as support once again. Yeah, as you can see, there's no follow through. Price is just mumbling around here. This is the typical pre-FOMC behavior. It will just grab liquidity and form. In this case, it will just form liquidity. In the beginning of the stream, I said that I would not ask for much on price action. The expectations would be kind of low, and that's what we are seeing here. So just a minor zigzag on price. So I'm sorry if I'm kind of silence here, but honestly, price action is it's not giving as much to talk about. So if you have something to ask, or if you're new to the stream, just put your questions, just make your questions. I will answer them without any problem. Um, this is a stream where transparency is key. So if you have not listened to me yesterday, I said that, that until the end of the week I would be streaming on a demo account, paper trading it, because I've broken a rule, a drawdown rule on the combine. So I'm kind of locked until Monday, and I think demoing will help me in some type of way. So you can ask me whatever you want. That way I will have something to talk about as well. And things can get a little bit more dynamic. I mean, so if you haven't subscribed to the channel, just do it. I will try to be here every day from Monday to Friday. Majorly trading ES and trading on combines and eventually evaluations as well. But for now, since I have violated some of the accounts rules, I just have to be on a demo account practicing, and that's it. I'm sorry for my camera, but honestly, it just shuts down from time to time. I don't know why, but I just have to figure it out. Well, price now is getting slowly to our targets here. These retracements were kind of deep retracements. Honestly, not expecting those type of retracements here when price was here. I said that okay, probably we will face an upside movement, but honestly, price is just trying to consolidate here. It gave us some type of way of a down leg here, but I was expecting some more downside, and expecting the first presented for value gap to act as a resistance to a retest to the upside. I'm glad I had my stop at profit and not at break even. Otherwise, I would have been stopped out at break even in this short. But yeah, eventually expecting these relative equal lows here as our low-hanging fruit objective for now, and the rest might eventually come with the lunch hour that we are entering. We have about 15 minutes to enter lunch hour. So for those who are watching, all I'm asking is that you hit the like button, and if you aren't subscribed yet, I think that you will at least gain something with a subscription, at least knowledge, and you can observe the market not in a lonely way. At least you have someone to ask and to talk about it here on the stream. You can ask questions, and you can put your your ideas on a chat as well. Yeah, I think that if we all try to talk about what we are seeing, talk about our strategies, talk about the narratives that we put in place each day, I think that we all will learn something from that. and that's why I'm here, and I'm here as well to commit myself to the markets and to commit myself to certain rules and certain aspects. That's why I'm trading demo for now, but it will change on Monday. That way I won't expose my trading accounts to CPI and FOMC, which will happen late this week. So, well, FOMC will happen in some couple of hours. It's just the FOMC minutes, but it will happen. And then we will have, just let me check, CPI tomorrow. Yeah, CPI tomorrow. And then PPI next day. And Michigan sentiment preliminaries, which is at the 11th. Yeah, Friday. Yeah, but as you can see, price is really acting in a boring way, just giving us minor swings, full retracement of those swings with displacement. See? Yeah, these are the type of price action that you should avoid. That's why I'm demoing. That's why I'm just practicing. And this way I can eventually see what the type of damage that we do to our accounts when we still want to engage in this type of price action. Yeah, it is inevitable that price will go for these relative equal highs, probably, with this type of displacement. Notice how the first presented fair value gap is acting. It has a major role here on today's price action, because price is just mumbling around here. The first presented fair value gap not going way too high from it, or not go way too low from it. It's just, okay, I will go a little bit outside of it, but then I will return and then go once again upside to it, returning to it, going a little bit outside to it, returning to it. And yeah, you mean what I mean, right? So price is just doing its zigzags in between the first presented fair value gap. So this is the last macro hour before lunch. This is the 11:50 to 11:50 to 12:10. and this is the last macro hour that price will give before the lunch hour. Usually the lunch hour attacks lows or eventually highs formed in between 10 a.m. So we have our 10 a.m. highs, 10 a.m. highs, 10 a.m. highs. We can consider eventually these as 10 a.m. lows, and these are already taken, these as well, but I would eventually wait for this one to be taken. And we are kind of the 4 minutes inside the macro hour. Price is just stubborn in today's price action, and I think I will probably end the stream soon because there's nothing to do here. Since this is a practice and demo account as well, I don't mind to stop the stream right now. If it hits the stop loss, it will hit the stop loss. If it hits the profit, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters here is and the lesson that we can take from today's price action is, if you have FOMC minutes in the afternoon, you should wait for it, because honestly, the only thing that I can see here that was tradable was my entry here, somewhere here. But if you had a not stretched stop loss, you would get hit and you would get stopped out, just like it did to me. And then the other one was eventually here, where I entered once again. taking out some of this down. Like this is the only thing that I can see here that was eventually tradable. The next one was eventually here when price comes back and retraces it, and eventually this can start to run to the downside because there's nothing more to retest here. But yeah, price has been very boring this morning. But note how big these candles are. Notice how big these candles are. These are still 25 handle candles, which are very big. Too big for my taste. That's why I'm demoing as well. These are too big of a candles, and I've learned the hard way that if you try to participate in markets where your stop loss isn't big enough, or the size of your minis or micro contracts are too big, then you will. The best way is to stay out of it. Let's see if the last macro will give us what we wanted from price. We might face some volatility in 3 minutes. As soon as the clock hits 12 or noon, we might face some volatility. Let's see if we can lose the first percent of fair value gap. The only moment that we lost the first percent of fair value gap was here, but it kind of retraced right away. So it would be cool if we lose it for good. Well, this was the alarm warning me to end my trading session. So at this point I will end the stream as well. There's no point watching this. We are in a practice account as well, so there is no point wasting our time watching this. My targets are in place, so if the market wants to do its own thing, it will. If the market wants to come here just like I I did not predict it, but I thought it would come to this liquidity pool that we have down here um, since the beginning of the session. So if it wants to give me, good. If it doesn't, I'm good as well. But honestly, the only thing that I take from this stream right here, right now, is that when we have FOMC minutes, we can't accept much from price action, and this is the demonstration that we should take these considerations in place. So as soon as you have some profits, just grab your profits and go touch some grass, because I was expecting a lower movement here to the downside. It didn't happen because it might be programmed to 2 p.m. when FOMC starts. So for those watching, thank you very much. Thank you for your presence. I hope to see you tomorrow once again. Remember, I will be trading on the demo account, paper trading, until the last week of the last day of the week. So I will return to combines on Monday. And yeah, I think that's it. Stay safe. Do not try to interact with price action until FOMC, because I don't think it will be good. And hope to see you tomorrow. Have a nice afternoon as well. Thank you very much.